everyone. This is Father Son Galaxy. I am
Boo.
Kerwin. This is Keith. Glad to be back. Thanks for joining us. We are here to talk about Fantastic Four.
Yes, we saw a lovely movie.
Yes, Fantastic
last week,
Four.
I believe.
Yes, First Steps. All right, so we've given people enough time to see the movie, and I'm sure we're going to have a big conversation about this one, directed by Matt Shakman. I'll be honest with you. I have never watched the Fantastic Four cartoons. I've never read their comic books. I have not seen any of the Fantastic Four films in the past. So I was very excited to see for the first time something related to the Fantastic Four. And I was not aware how powerful this family is. I had no idea, And look, I think the first person we should talk about, great characters, obviously. First person we should talk about is Franklin Richards.
Yes.
I mean, he's kind of like the star
supernatural
of the show.
baby.
Yeah, he's the star of the show. And Franklin Richards, of course, is the son of Reed and Sue. All right. And so did a little research about him, Franklin, in the comic books. He's named after his maternal grandfather, Franklin Storm. He was born a mutant, right? One of the most powerful beings in the universe, as we could see. He has telepathic abilities, telekinetic, fire, powerful energy blasts, his ability to rearrange molecular structure of matter and energy, and he's immortal. And apparently he could bring people back from the dead. So this is where I want to start. And I know we're starting at the end, but this is a spoiler review, okay? So I just want to make sure we let everybody know this is a spoiler review about what took place at the end of this film, because it really took me by surprise. Sue Storm, obviously, as any mother would be, she's very protective of her son, and we'll go into why. But what he did at the end, after she has used all of her powers and abilities to push Galactus back into the portal, she apparently dies. But Franklin somehow brings her back to life.
Yeah.
Now,
it was interesting. Franklin was crying, and then he just stopped crying, and then revived Sue. And he's like, "Oh, wait a minute."
Yeah. Now, do you think this is a power that he has to bring anyone back to life, or is this something that he did just for his mom?
He could probably use it anywhere, because the baby didn't even fall asleep after he did that. You know what happens to Grogu?
True.
When he uses 2 ounces of force power,
right?
He takes a little nappy nap.
Yeah,
that didn't even happen to Franklin.
No.
The guy was just up and running again. He was smiling too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, and the movie didn't really explain that. But I guess, when we see more of the Fantastic Four, and maybe as Franklin gets older, we'll figure this out. But he's kind of he's got these godlike qualities.
Yep.
And I was so impressed, and I can understand why Galactus was so interested in this kid. All right. So let's talk about Galactus. All right. Speaking of Galactus, now we finally get to see Galactus in all its glory.
Yes.
The character is voiced by Ralph Anderson. In the Sixth Cosmos, this is his, a little bit of his background. In the Sixth Cosmos, he was once immortal, from Tayan, and his name was Galan of Tayan, maybe. He was approached by the sentience of the Sixth Cosmos. Galan became one with the cosmos and passed on to the Seventh Cosmos and became Galactus.
Yep.
Yeah. And what this all means is that he is very, very powerful. He's so powerful, he eats planets when he's hungry. Yeah.
That's a great midnight snack.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, and you know what is funny? Apparently, it's the same Galactus in every universe. And I know you haven't played Lego Marvel Superheroes, but the way you beat the guy is by pushing him into a vortex, like they did in this movie.
That's all you have to do?
Yeah. So it's he's an idiot, because this happens to him every time. And also, Silver Surfer betrayed him not only in the 2008 film, but also in the game. I know Silver Surfer wasn't really a big part of the game, but he was there.
Well, from what I can tell from Galactus, I understand he is the villain in this movie, but he's not a malicious villain, if that makes any sense. I mean, he told you right up front what he wants.
He's not really doing it because he wants to. The eating planets thing, he does it because he has to.
Right, because that's his nourishment.
Yeah. Speaking of
Right.
which, maybe Galactus should just try to stop eating Earth, because I don't know if this happens with other planets usually, but Earth doesn't really take kindly to getting eaten by a giant space god, and they will like do whatever it takes to not get eaten.
Yeah. Right.
So maybe go devour like Saturn or something, a planet with no life forms on it. So that way, there's no casualties.
Yeah. I mean, there are multiple planets in the galaxy, right? I mean,
Exactly,
so he's got
hundreds,
so many.
millions.
Why does he need Earth? Well,
Maybe it's specifically tasty.
it could be. Now, speaking of Earth, he is not the one who actually chooses the planets, right?
Yeah.
He has a herald that does it for him.
So basically, you just send Silver Surfer around, and she just kind of picks planets for him, and she's like, "Hey, this one might be, delicious. Just eat this planet." And then he shows up, and he does eat it.
Yeah. Now, Silver Surfer, voiced by Julia Garner, wonderful. So she is a Herald of Galactus who is sent by Galactus to find suitable worlds for him to devour. She has just a fraction of Galactus' superpower, and she has a source of unlimited cosmic energy. Shalabal is her name. She was obviously an Earthling. Well, no, she's not an Earthling. She arrives on Earth to warn the people that Galactus is coming, and she had a great line. She said, "I herald his beginning. I herald your end. I herald Galactus." I thought that was pretty cool.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. And the way she showed up, I think that was such a great entrance. Like all of a sudden their phones go off and there's an alert, and then they turn around and they see this, I don't know, something breaking out of the skies, and then she comes down, and that's when she gives that notice that the people on Earth are in trouble, and she finds out that Sue and Reed are having a baby, and Galactus is very interested in getting to know this child and having this child maybe at some point take over for him, because he's so powerful.
Yeah, he wants to pass on the curse essentially, because Galactus doesn't want to do this anymore.
Yes, right. At some point, yes, he wants someone to take over for him.
Yeah,
and he needs someone as powerful as a Franklin Richards.
So, the Fantastic Four give him the slip. Silver Surfer chases him, and they lead her into a black hole, which she somehow escapes from.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's really funny? I swear, Silver Surfer is just showing off. Like, that one scene where she, descends herself into their ship? She didn't have to do all that, because when she leaves, she just flies out the front just as easily as she could have entered.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So now let's, we're going to talk about the other two characters, obviously, but let's get into the movie because we want to talk about what this movie is about. But again, it comes down to Franklin Richards. Now, the Fantastic Four is a hit with planet Earth.
Yes, very popular.
Yes, they are celebrities. They're actually appearing on this. First of all, let's just say that it takes place in the 60s, Earth 828, right? Takes place in the 60s. The production design looks fantastic.
Yeah.
I love the costuming. And there's this variety show, Ted Gilbert show, which reminds you of, if you were around back in the day, you've heard of Ed Sullivan. He was a talk show host at that time. So we had that feel of, bringing the Fantastic Four on and introducing them. And what I liked, even though it's not an origin story, what I liked that they did at the beginning was just talk about each character, who they are and what they do. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Right.
This film really reminded me of Superman.
It did. Tell me how.
Because, if I had a nickel for every time in 2025, in the month of July, a film released where the main superheroes had their identity wrecked with something that isn't really their fault, but then a half hour later, it's all fixed and happy, and then they solve the problem, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.
That is very interesting because the Fantastic Four is not like any other superhero. They're not hiding their identity. I mean, everybody knows who they are. They know what they look like. They know what they're capable of doing. And the people love them, The visual effects I thought was really, really good. Especially when we talk about the scene where the rocket takes off and is heading over to Galactus and try to, negotiate with him, for their son.
That went well.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the score, Michael Giacchino. It's the best MCU score since Endgame, in my opinion.
Yep.
Yeah, so I will pick up this score one day, but that the score really enhanced the movie, the feel of the movie. It gave you the chills where you needed to have them, so it was fantastic.
Fantastic
Yeah.
Four.
I'm gonna try not to say the word fantastic so often.
No, the movie was fantastic.
Yeah, well, it was very good. Yeah, we enjoyed it. Yeah.
See, here's the thing.
Yes. Very good. All right. You want to talk about the thing?
Sure.
Okay.
Ben
Grimm,
my boy, my Rocky boy. He had his, oh my god, he has the ability to grow a beard now. Didn't know that was a thing he could do, and that also makes him an infinite source of rocks, which could probably be very useful to the world's government. You know,
why is that?
because rocks, like if those things are as strong as they are for Ben, could you imagine if you just like when he just shaves with like a power saw. So
That's
they're
true.
not that hard to take off. And since it doesn't hurt him, I'm assuming it's like hair where, you know, if you shave it, you don't feel it. They could just, you know, harvest them and then make armor suits out of them. And then have a bunch of little mini things running around.
So you think it's impenetrable?
Yeah.
Probably. Okay.
Because if it's strong for Ben, then it should be strong for anyone who manages to get their hands on the rocks. I think this is a thing in the comics where people always want to like try to get some of Ben's rocks for some reason. So
okay, all right. And something that you brought up that was very interesting. I'm glad you brought it up. Again, I have not seen the previous Fantastic Four films, but you know, I guess during their introduction or origin story, we know that what happened to Ben. You know, he was this, well, still is, this famous astronaut, and then these gamma rays or cosmic rays that they encounter in space.
Of course, he happened to be outside the ship at the time, which is why he's all rocky.
Ah, okay, all right. And when he becomes the Thing, this was something that he had to accept his look. And most times he was very self-loathing. He didn't like the way he looked.
Exactly. Right. Like in the comics, this is like a massive struggle for him.
Yeah.
It's like one of his biggest character aspects. But in this film, nobody seems to have a problem with the guy. They talk to him on the streets.
Yes.
Like, that scene for Rocky where he's running down the street and the vendor throws him an orange? It's basically that with Ben. Like, everybody's kind to him. The children don't care that he looks like a rock guy. They even wanted to, like, do tricks for them.
Yeah.
The teacher's friendly with them. The Fantastic Four are friendly with them. I don't know if you saw Fan-4-Stick, but, Johnny's just overly mean. Like, he calls him a thing that nobody wanted.
Yeah.
This movie, everybody loves the Thing.
Yes. And that's the way it should be. Right?
Yeah, and that's the Thing.
Yes. And you're right. It's just he's walking down the street. He can't disguise himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, the trench coat.
He's out there. And, people are like, hey, say the thing. Say the word. Say the word,
Say it's clobbering time.
Yeah, say it, And he's like, no, that's the cartoons. I don't say that. And then you're right. When the kids come by, they want him to pick up a car and flip it around. And, so the kids love him. People love him. And I can see that there's a love interest growing.
Yeah.
Right? Which I think is pretty cool. And maybe if there's a sequel.
Which it probably will be.
I do recall that was a big deal in the comic books when he married, and I don't know if it's the same character.
He married a blind woman.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
Her name's Alicia.
Exactly. And now that's interesting. I want to talk about this. He did marry a blind woman, and obviously, she can't see what he looks like, so it really doesn't matter, right? It's about him as a person. But I'm very glad that they didn't do this in a movie, because I think that would have been an insult for him to marry someone who can't really see what he looks like, rather somebody who accepts him the way he looks.
Modern audiences throw a fit.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. And no, it's this is the way they did it in this movie was great. So of course, Natasha Lyonne can do no wrong in my book. She's a great actress. So she is playing Rachel Rosman, a school teacher, and she can clearly see how he looks from top to bottom, and she has an interest in him.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope they bring her back. You didn't really see much of her in this movie.
Nah, she was in like 2 scenes.
Yeah. So I hope they bring her back, for the sequel. If there's a sequel. All right.
Let's talk about Reed for a second.
All right. You want to talk about Reed? Okay.
Yeah.
Reed or Pedro Pascal as Reed? Which one?
Reed.
Okay, go ahead, Reed.
He had me tweaking in this film.
Tell me.
You know, you remember when Reed decided to hold an impromptu press conference when they got off the ship?
Yes.
And, he was about to leave, and then one of the reporters asked him, are we safe? And he's like, I don't know, man. I thought that was funny, but not funny, haha. Funny like you could have lied. Because the first thing that came to my mind is, you're safe for now. We have plenty of time to think of a solution before we take care, and then we'll take care of this problem. Don't worry about it. We'll handle it.
So
But he just said, I don't know. And also, when the person asked, when he said, Galactus has too high a price, I was like, good, keep it ambiguous. And then the reporter asked, what was the price? And Reed decided to answer honestly, which was the wrong choice here, because the entire 8 billion population of the world was like ready to riot. I mean, they were like 10 seconds before they started throwing bricks at the Baxter building. Because, they would be like, give up the kid, give up the kid. Right. I'm sure they were about to like start handing out signs and sandwiches.
So let's backtrack and talk about how we got to this moment.
No,
this is a very important moment. All right. So basically, Galactus is here. He wants Franklin Richards because of how powerful this child is, and he's not even born yet. So Sue is carrying. She's about to give birth.
Yes, and they brought her into space for some reason.
Well, okay. I have. There's a reason for that, in my opinion. Now, Reed,
because invisible.
No. Reed is very particular. He is, his mind is just incredible. Like he has probably thought of the scenarios and the calculations. If anything were to happen to Sue when they're up in space, he would have a solution on how to heal her or to fix her. So I think he was okay with having her go into this mission. All 4 of them, even though, so she was probably 9 months at the time. And it is very dangerous. It's not something that, a mother carrying a 9-month-old, who's 9 months pregnant would do.
Yeah.
But
lovely choice.
But how many, women have a husband like Franklin Richards? Like Reed Richards, who knows and understands, okay, well, he checks her vital signs, her blood pressure. He's got all that taken
care of. Kind of obsessive about it, just to make sure the baby's safe.
Just like any father, new father to be, they want to make sure that, mom's doing okay, the baby's doing okay, the heartbeat, everything. So he had that all taken care of. So I don't think he was worried about having Sue, on that rocket ship with them. So Galactus wants Franklin. The 4 of them go into space to meet with Galactus and try to talk him out of taking their son.
Mm-hmm.
And this was wonderful because,
it was wonderful. It didn't work, but it was wonderful.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about actually the setup, with the rocket ship. I don't know how often you've seen, rockets go up in space. I don't know if you've seen a lot of them in your time, but, I've seen them, in real life and on films like Apollo 13 and The Right Stuff. And it's always so exciting, when to see that rocket blast off into space, and the music, once again, the score just enhanced that.
Yeah.
It felt I was going to say fantastic again.
It's not a stretch to say it's fantastic.
It felt wonderful.
So I want to see how many of those puns I can get off in this video.
So they're in space. They're having this conversation with Galactus, and Galactus says, no. And
Johnny was just on fire, by the way, literally and metaphorically.
Right.
He burned through his oxygen reserves. Reed did not give him that much. So, the guy just kind of ran out of oxygen, and then Ben had to carry him to the ship.
Mm-hmm. Right. And, Galactus was a little upset that they didn't give him what he wanted, and they got out of there very quickly.
He threw a little bit tantrum.
Yeah, and then you got the Silver Surfer coming after them, and she managed, like you said, to get herself into the ship, put her arms into the womb, and check for the baby.
Which is crazy.
And, and Sue said, you know what? Kill her.
Wait, she was looking at Johnny like, kill her.
That's right.
She was mad.
Don't you harm my baby, So,
yeah, she threw Johnny around the cabinet. I was like, oh, God.
You want me to kill her? It's like, and he tried, but, they're in this warp.
Yeah.
with
You know,
the laser
they
blast.
throw her into a black hole,
Right.
essentially.
Yes, exactly.
And I thought they said it would take her like years to get out,
Mhm.
and she just kind of, made her way to the exit
Yeah.
after like 10 seconds.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, Silver Surfer was relentless. I mean, you thought they got rid of her, and that she was still trailing behind them, and she's going on a surfboard, and
Silver Surfer
she's
needed to take a chill pill.
yeah, but she just looked awesome. I thought this was very good.
You know what's
But
funny?
they did manage to escape, and then that's when they came back to Earth and had the press conference, and this is what you were talking about.
You take the surfboard away from the Silver Surfer, she loses all her sauce.
Is that a joke?
Yes.
Okay.
The joke is that you can't disconnect the Silver Surfer from the surfboard.
Well, then she
Johnny kept
okay, go ahead.
asking
Yeah, yeah.
about that. He was like, "Is the surfboard connected to her? Is it
Right.
like a thing?" That's.
But didn't she fall off the surfboard?
I think.
Yeah. So, and then you realize, okay, she's not connected.
Yeah, it's not connected.
Right. Exactly. We're going to talk about Johnny Storm, in a few minutes. But right. So now we get to this scene, this big moment, and this press conference, and the press is asking him questions about, well, what happened and what does he want? And you're right. I think Reed just went too far. He went too personal.
Yeah.
He didn't.
This is why modern day celebrities have PR teams that answer everything for them.
That's a good
Because
point.
you get the man, his anxiety kicked in, and bro's just standing there like,
Yeah. I think his PR team should have stepped in.
He wants my son, man.
Yeah. They should have stepped in immediately and said, no more questions. We're not going to answer that question, but they didn't. And he said, he told them straight out, okay, well, Galactus wants our son and we're not going to give it to him. And of course they're upset. Like, oh, okay, one kid for millions of people on this earth, so we're going to die because of your son,
Exactly.
The selfishness of people. But I can understand.
I mean,
I can understand it.
I don't know what the population was in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just say like 5 billion. Like 5 billion people in exchange for this one kid does not sound like that big of a deal if it's not your kid.
Yeah, I hear you.
Like, it doesn't hit as hard unless that's your son on the line.
I get you. Yeah. So I think the better thing he could have done was just not say what Galactus really wanted.
Yeah, like I get both perspectives, but Reed should have just kept his stretchy mouth shut.
Let's talk about Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby, their performances. I thought they were very good together.
Yes.
You want to say anything about them? Great chemistry.
Pedro was very Pedro, and Vanessa was very Vanessa.
Okay, all right. Now, look, Pedro Pascal, I mean, he does a lot. All right. He's in different IPs. And to be honest with you, he doesn't give a bad performance.
The guy's been in everything. He was in Marvel, DC, Star Wars, The Last of Us.
Sure.
I mean, Gladiator 2.
Yeah.
Like, you turn your head in the cinema, Pedro Pascal. And apparently people had a problem with that. Which is like...
Yeah, well, maybe people think he's overexposed, but,
I don't really have a problem with it, man.
I thought
At least he's a good actor.
He is a good actor. I think he did a great job. Vanessa Kirby, I really liked her as Sue Storm.
I think she gave the best performance in the film, actually.
Yeah, you said that. Best performance of any Sue Storms from the previous films. Yeah. Yeah.
Mostly because Fantastic was awful and Jessica Alba really got the short end of the stick.
Okay. So. And I've not seen any of the other Fantastic Four films. So none of the other Sue Storms had Franklin, right?
Nope.
Okay, so they were without child at the time.
2005, Sue Storm died, though.
Which one was this? Rise of the Silver Surfer?
Yeah. She got revived.
Oh, okay.
But, she wasn't dead for too long.
Oh, okay.
It was kind of what happened here.
What brought her back to life?
I think it was the Silver Surfer.
Interesting.
It was Lawrence Fishburne.
Lawrence Fishburne as
Silver Surfer.
You're kidding
me.
The
voice.
Really? I didn't know that.
Really?
I didn't watch any of these movies, Keith. I was not interested. I was not into the Fantastic Four. And then I'm looking at these movies and I'm seeing, okay, well, it doesn't look like something I'd be interested to see. And after all these years, the first one came out, 2008? 2005? Not have seen 1 minute of these movies. Do you recommend that I see them?
Yeah.
Yeah. All the previous 3 or
don't bother with the Fan Force thing.
Okay, don't do that one. Okay, yeah, but the first 2, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
low key, I actually want to watch that film again.
Low key?
Low key.
What's low key? Low key.
My point is, I just want to like rewatch the
The
film.
2015 film,
Yes,
the Fanfortis,
fantastic.
the Fanforstic.
Because it was so awful, and I'm like, I need to see this again.
Yeah, I look.
Great idea to go stick in your hands in random goop you find on an alien planet. You know?
I don't have the time. It's like, okay, if it's not good, and I believe you. If you said it's not good, you want to watch it because you know it's not good.
Yeah,
You
like
know,
Madam Web.
you're not. We're different. Like you would watch a bad movie because it's so bad you can't stop
Well,
watching
you
it.
know what's funny? If it's bad enough, I never revisit it. Exhibit A, The Acolyte.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well,
Oh
that's not true.
God,
That's
that
not true.
caused
Look,
me mental
no.
anguish.
Okay. You've talked about the Multiverse of Madness. That's a movie you do not like.
I've
But you
watched it
watched it.
once.
I thought you watched it more than
I've
once.
only watched it once.
I don't believe you.
I'm being so serious. I only watched it when Mom and I went to the theater.
For some reason, okay, because you talk about it a lot because it wasn't what you expected.
I
So
have
I
quite a good
figured,
memory.
okay, yes, exactly. Okay. All right. Well, some people just like, okay, this movie's so bad, I got to watch it again, type of thing.
Yeah,
I'm not
like
that type
Madam
of,
Web.
I'm not that type of person. How many times have you seen Man on Web?
Twice.
Twice. Okay. Look, I'm done with that movie.
And to be fair, I've watched Deadpool and Wolverine 3 times.
Okay.
That was a great movie.
What?
Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yes. Okay. I agree.
Okay. On to my boy Johnny
Johnny
Storm.
Storm. All right.
Yes.
Johnny Storm. Oh, by the way, so just want to say we were talking about The Thing. Is played by Ebon Moss-Bachrach. Joseph Quinn, your guy.
Yeah.
Johnny Storm. Tell me about his performance. What did you like and what you didn't like?
Cool. It's kind of funny because they made Johnny like a genius in this film. Because he decoded like an entire alien language based off a few audio recordings of this one thing that this random lady on a silver surfboard said to him, and used all that to like craft and understand an entire language, and then speak it within days. Like speak it fluently too, like understandably.
Yeah, they made him out to he's not this ladies' man that this reputation that we believe he has. Like he's dating this woman here and that woman there. It's not about that. But he did.
He's actually a pretty chill guy.
He is right, but he did have a fascination for Shalabal
for some reason.
Yeah, well, because
the silver lady on the surfboard who tried to end his planet.
I think he's curious to know. Okay, who is she? Where is she from? So it made sense to me. And you're right. I do recall that there was a scene in the movie where Johnny just wanted to just get involved. Like, I know, Reed was going around and, talking things and, Johnny's looking at him like, well, what can I do? Like, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? And Reed didn't really give him much, pay him much.
Reed was just like, shut up.
Right. So he went on his own, Johnny. And like you said, translated these recordings.
Yeah. So Johnny stormed out of the room.
He stormed out of the room. Right.
Get it?
Yes, I do. That one I got. Okay. So, and he finds out that Shalabal is from Zenla, right? And she and her daughter, we see this flashback where she and her daughter, it looks like they're on the beach.
Yeah.
And they encounter Galactus for the first time. And
Galactus was currently hiring.
Yes.
And Shalabal was like, yeah, I'll accept that position. How much do you pay? He said, nothing. She was like, bet.
Well, he was coming to eat her planet.
Yeah. So she decided to save her planet and also her daughter.
Exactly,
and
right.
She,
so
picked up the surfboard.
It became personal for her. Right.
So unfortunately, she kind of she sold her soul, and now she signed a contract to Galactus to help him scout planets.
Yes.
And then eat them. So, pretty anguishing existence.
Yeah. Now, were you surprised at what she did at the end to help push Galactus back into the portal?
Slightly. So, Johnny, he kind of grabbed like all those audio recordings and he played them and started listing off the planets that Shalabal helped Galactus destroy, and she just kind of crashed out and flew off.
Yes, right. So right, when he confronted her and told her, I know who you are, I translated your language. Of course she felt, okay, well, I did what I had to do to save my daughter. But then she realizes, okay, ever since she's been this Herald of Galactus, like he's been eating planets left and right, and she is the one that's out picking out these planets. So she's
exactly
just to blame, as much to blame, And I think she realized, okay, you know what, this needs to stop.
Yeah.
And it was a great scene. This was towards the end. Where now let's talk about the plan. So we know Galactus was trying to go after Franklin. the Fantastic Four is trying to do this switcheroo with the baby
Yeah.
carriage or the
So what they do is, I guess they don't know the full extent of Galactus's powers,
yeah.
but they take Franklin, right? They put him in a baby carrier. It's basically proof to everything.
Yes.
So Galactus shouldn't be able to harm Franklin. They make this. Well, actually, let me start with the original plan. So they're gonna put teleporters all over Earth,
Yes. Let's
and
talk
then
about that.
teleport it to a different Earth.
To move the
But
Earth.
then
Yes.
Silver Surfer shows up, starts destroying them, and Johnny
Yes.
plays recorded stuff as she leaves.
Yeah.
Exit stage left. And then they make this new plan with the last teleporter they have in New York, where they're going to try to push Galactus into it and use Franklin as bait, so he'll step on the teleporter area, and then they, ship him off to the edge of the galaxy,
Right.
It's kind of a team effort. Everybody has to help out. Sue is doing most of the work, honestly, because he's pushing Galactus.
Yes.
And then the guy just kind of gets out of the portal, and then Johnny's like, tell Franklin Uncle Johnny loves him, and then he's about to sacrifice himself, and I'm like, no. And then Silver Surfer just pushes him out the way, and she kicks Galactus into the edge of the universe.
Yes.
And they both teleport away.
Yeah. The switcheroo, I want to talk about that. Like they had Franklin at first, right? Like on the rooftop, I think, or something like that. And they had the carriage right there for
the taking.
Galactus to find. All right. And then very quickly, Johnny blinds Galactus,
Yeah,
right?
he shoots fire in his eyes.
And then while, Galactus can't see for a few seconds, they switch it and put an empty carriage there. As if Galactus is
like
not
he can't
know.
see that.
I'm thinking that this is heat seeking, what he has, these powers.
Yeah, he has X-ray vision essentially.
Right, so he could tell if someone is in there or not. So
yeah, what they should have done? Strange. They should have at least put like a doll in there or something.
Yeah, I don't know, but I thought that was interesting. But you're right. So.
Sure, Reed could have fashioned an animatronic or something. It just was, yeah.
And then that led up to, Galactus going back to wherever he came from.
Shallow Ball hits him in the face with her surfboard.
Yeah.
And then, bah,
And then
they both get shipped off to Azkaban or something. I don't know where they went.
And that's when Sue collapses and she loses, her life.
Yeah.
And then,
unfortunately, and then Franklin revives her.
Yes, right. It's like
all good.
Wow,
all done.
I like the scene, right before the movie ends, where they're going back onto this Ted Gilbert show, and they're supposed to appear, and then all of a sudden their alarms go off, and then the curtains open up, the Fantastic Four, and there's nobody there.
Yeah.
And they're running through the studio, and they get into the car. By the way, it's a cool car. What do you think about the car?
The Fantastic car? Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
And then they can't put in the baby seat.
Yeah, they can't put it. It's very funny to me because that's something that I had to deal with, like for the first time trying to lock in this baby seat. It is not easy. And it took the three of them to figure out.
Yeah. She was just looking at them like, oh my God.
She's just shaking her head like, really?
She's embarrassed.
But I thought it was very funny. That was very cool. So the movie ends. You want to talk about Mole Man?
Nah,
not much. Well, I mean, there's not much to say. We saw him at the beginning of the movie, so he is, like one of these earlier villains of the Fantastic Four. He is leader of this underground city, Subterranea. So he makes it's a cameo appearance, and he helps New Yorkers. Sorry, he helps the New Yorkers. Get down and
get out
the underground so that they can be protected from Galactus, during the destruction.
Yeah. If I had a nickel for every time in the month of July in 2025 we had a movie where the superheroes plan involves evacuating people, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.
You're right. Yeah. And 2 movies came out the same month.
Yeah. Within 2 weeks of each other.
Yeah. And
from warring studios.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting? New York, man. I mean, like, how many times have we seen these buildings destroyed throughout these Marvel films?
I mean, you got to think that at some point people just stop rebuilding them.
Yeah, like, okay, who's doing this rebuilding? Where is this money coming from? To put, it's just something I thought about. All right, so mid credits, okay, 4 years later.
Yeah, so Franklin's, like a toddler now, I think, and they read him books. And then Doctor Doom shows up.
Yes. So Doctor Doom is kneeling down at
He had the mask off,
the
too.
boy. He took the mask off, and it looks to me that Franklin was touching his face.
Yeah, and Franklin's just like, oh, this guy looks cool. Let me touch his face.
Let's talk about this. So I would guess, as a 4-year-old child, if they don't know the person, they might be a little nervous as to who they are. If a person, comes forward, they don't know, they're going to react like,
Or not.
Maybe not. Okay. But going as far as touching, if that's what's happening, touching the man's face, we had this conversation, we were driving today.
And Mom proposed a theory that, Franklin was healing the scars on the guy's face. So, Doctor Doom, he's a pretty vain man. And at some point, he did get facially scarred. So he wears the mask so that, he doesn't look chopped to the rest of the world. Yeah. So maybe Franklin was just healing that because that's his power.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. But I can't tell whether that character or that actor was actually Robert Downey Jr.
It wasn't.
It wouldn't make, good. It wouldn't make any sense for him to do that type of cameo.
Marvel would have had to pay him $10 million just for those 2 seconds.
Right. Yeah. So, and I thought, he didn't look very intimidating, with the hood and everything, but
I mean, it was all right.
Yeah, it was fine, but that was it.
Oh, my voice is something weird.
So, we've been talking about being on the road to Avengers Doomsday and Secret
Road's
Wars.
looking rocky.
Yeah.
And also paved with truckloads of money.
Yeah. Okay. So now they're using the same playbook that they use before the first Avengers film, right? So, they had these individual characters come out with their own movies like Captain America and Iron Man and Thor. Now, there wasn't really anything to, maybe you could tell me because I don't remember. There might have been a post-credit scene where, I think there was, where Nick Fury came up to Robert Downey Jr. and said, well, I want to bring a team together.
Well, yeah.
Right?
So in Iron Man, there's a post-credit scene where Nick Fury shows up and talks to the guy.
Yes.
And then the same thing happens at the end of Captain America. In the Incredible Hulk movie, Iron Man starts having a conversation with General Ross. And then in Thor, he didn't actually get recruited by Nick Fury. He just kind of went back to Asgard. And then Loki dropped down to Earth. And, Hawkeye and Natasha were already S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, so they were introduced in Thor and Iron Man 2 respectively.
Okay. Well, at least they gave us an indication as to what's to come, right?
Yeah.
That we know that these characters are going to form a team and become the Avengers. I feel that we don't have that with Avengers Doomsday.
You're right. We don't.
Just know that there's going to be a boatload of actors in this movie.
Yeah.
We don't know really what they're going to do, how it's going to be done. And these movies, has not given us any clue as to how they're going to be used.
Yeah.
Which it does make me a little concerned as to how they're going to put all this together in one movie and not even, prepare us as to, what are we looking forward to for Avengers Doomsday?
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, anyway, I think that's it.
Well, no, it's not. If you look at the notes,
Excuse me.
All right. Now, okay. Now, we're talking about Avengers Doomsday, but before we get to Doomsday, right? We're going to another Spider-Man.
Ah, yes.
Okay.
Spider-Man.
Right. So
Spider-Man.
If you notice,
Spider-Man.
They're hyping up this movie very early.
Yeah.
Right?
A year in advance.
We've seen the suit. We've seen some behind the scenes clips.
Yeah, we've seen the aura farming.
Yeah.
Tom Holland, we see the fit. We get it, bro.
Yeah. Which is very interesting because it's only 2 weeks after Fantastic Four was released.
Mm.
And
Marvel keeps killing their own hype.
Yeah, is that intentional? Like, okay, well, because maybe Fantastic Four, lost a lot, dropped ticket sales the second week. That now they gotta, transition to some other character. And hey, let's talk about Spider-Man over here.
It kind of feels like distracting a baby from looking at a burning building by jingling keys in their face.
Yeah.
Except the burning building is a Fantastic Four's box office, and the keys are the new Spider-Man leaks.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, look, I know. I look. If this movie is very bad, which from the looks of it,
I
I can't
doubt it.
see how. This is going to be $1 billion movie, right? It's going to make $1 billion, right? Just like the last one. So they're putting all their chips on the table for Spider-Man because they want people to keep talking about Marvel, all right? Even though it's Sony, they want people hyped about Spider-Man. Spider-Man is a cash cow, all right? So we know that
Spider-Man could draw in $1 billion on any day.
Yeah. So we know that the Hulk is going to be in it, Punisher,
Probably Daredevil.
maybe
Hopefully
Daredevil. I don't know. Yeah, but we'll see. But we're looking forward to it. So my question to you is my last question. Will there be any tie-in in this movie to Doomsday?
Probably. I don't know.
Okay. I think there is. I think that's the reason why it's coming out before Doomsday. Because I can't imagine Spider-Man not being in Doomsday.
Yeah, well, if Hulk is going to be in Doomsday,
Yeah.
then Spider-Man should be too.
Yeah.
And so should Punisher. Actually, I don't know what Punisher's supposed to do in Doomsday.
No, I
guess he's just going to like shoot Dr. Doom.
I don't expect to see Punisher in Doomsday. I think he's just there because it's New York.
I think all the street level heroes, except for Spider-Man, should, stay out of the fight.
Yeah. So it's very interesting. All right. So we got the Eyes of Wakanda that came out a couple of weeks ago. We have Wonder Man, and then that's it for 2025.
Marvel Zombies.
Marvel Zombies, right? Yes. Okay.
I'm excited for that.
So there's still some Marvel material coming out, between now and the end of the year. So we'll be here to talk about it. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in for the spoiler review. If you have any comments, please leave them on the YouTube channel or wherever you watch us on TikTok or Apple Podcasts, streaming services. We'd love to hear your comments. If it's something that you thought we missed or something that you enjoyed about Fantastic Four that we didn't cover, let us know. Okay, where can people find us?
Google me.
Yes.
I'm kidding. You can find us wherever you get your podcast, socials, or Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Fatherson Galaxy. Our website is fathersongalaxy.com. Please check out our merch store, fathersongalaxy.myspreadshop.com, and our Patreon page, patreon.com/fathersongalaxy. I really need money, guys. Please.
Okay. Well, that was
I need it.
That was very positive. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Until next time, take care.
And we will see you again. Well, that's fantastic, isn't it?
I knew you were going to say fantastic one more time.